All right, guys. Today we're going to talk about the banking system. This is Chapter 5. It's Chapter 4 a little bit, but mainly Chapter 5. We combine the two chapters at this point. So you've been talking with Dave Ramsey a little bit, or through Dave Ramsey a little bit about banking and having a bank account. He suggests around 14, 15 years old that you start getting an account. And the first account and the main account really that you're going to want to get as a freshman, or your first account, first bank account, when you start working or when you have some extra money on the side and you want to spend it, you're going to want to get a checking account. The savings account, which we'll talk about later, is obviously what you use to save, and you're not really taking anything out of it. So a checking account, as you can see, allows you or gives you easy access. This is what's called a demand deposit account. If you look here, demand DDA, demand deposit account. You can withdraw money whenever you want, either through the ATM or when you go to the bank, or write checks anytime you want. Okay, so that's a demand deposit account. Basically, what a checking account does is it provides you with a safe and trustworthy place to keep your money. The FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and you're going to need to know that for the test, what this Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation is. It basically insures your money in the bank up to $250,000. So if a bank robber comes in and robs and cleans the entire bank out, and you have $40,000 in there, your money is insured, and you will get that $40,000 back. One of the things, or one of the benefits of having a checking account is a check, and you've probably heard what the term check is, but it's basically that written order. So it's an order telling the bank to pay somebody, or to pay a company, whether it's a business or a person, whatever, from your checking account. Okay, so a check, again, is an order to the bank to tell them, yes, you can go ahead and pay this person the amount that's written on the check. It's obviously much safer to use a check for large purchases than cash. If you're going to buy, like a car, and you have saved up a bunch of cash, you're going to want a check instead of carrying $5,000 in cash around. A debit card is basically an electronic check. Okay, so it's like a credit card if you've ever seen a credit card, but the money is taken directly from your checking account. It's different than a credit card, and we'll talk about those differences here in a second. But just understand that this is kind of the modern version of a check, if you will. So we'll look at the pros and cons of both. Okay, so when we look at how to deposit money into your account, okay, you can either go to the bank and give them cash, and they deposit it into your account. You can go now to ATM machines and physically put in cash into the ATM machine, which is you use your debit card, you enter in what's called a PIN number, and you can deposit cash now into that. That's a new thing, relatively new. Past, I don't know, 5-ish years, banks started doing that. And then obviously a check that you can take to the bank, but then also this thing called an electronic transfer. Most banks now are all online, and you can simply click on a button that says transfer, or whatever it says, and move money from one account to the next. Or somebody can do what's called, if you have Chase, can do what's called a quick pay, and they can pay you from their bank account, and it gets deposited directly into your bank account if you have that branch, if you have Chase. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Now you probably can't hear the sound to this video, okay? But what this video is showing is a new way to deposit checks. Rather than going to the bank, for instance, and giving them a check, you can actually, with your phone, there's a mobile app that she's going to show you how to deposit a check right from wherever you are, and it'll automatically go to the bank. I'm going to fast forward here. So the things you'll need in order to do this, and I'm going to kind of breeze through this so we can get to the part where it shows it, but you'll need obviously a checking account with that bank, okay, and then a smartphone, either an iPhone or an Android, that will be able to take pictures of the actual check, and then the mobile app for the bank. In this example, it's Chase is the bank. So she has her phone, she's logging into Chase, and there's a button on there that it walks you through exactly how to do it. And then you simply, here's the check down here that she wants to deposit, and you simply are taking a picture of the front of the check. And then I believe she flips it over. Yep, and see how she flipped it over? You have to take a picture of the back of the check and hit submit, and boom, you've just deposited a check from wherever you are. So that's kind of a really cool thing that has just started in the last 5-ish years, kind of along the lines of when you deposit cash into an ATM. About the same time they came out with that. So withdraw, deposits putting money in. Withdraw is when you take money out. You can withdraw money from your account in several different ways. When you write a check, you are basically making a withdrawal from your account as soon as that person cashes it, or actually when you write it, rather, is when the withdrawal happens. If you use a debit card, which we talked about, when you go to a business or a restaurant or wherever, and you use your debit card, that's a withdrawal from the account. When you go to an ATM machine, a teller machine, which is those machines that dispense cash, you use your debit card, enter the PIN number. You have to create a PIN number, which is like a passcode or whatever, and then you withdraw money from the ATM. That is a withdrawal from your account. And then the electronic transfer that I talked about earlier with the Quick Pay. I explained this. There's not a video necessarily to show this right now, but basically, just to recap, what a Quick Pay is through Chase is the bank I bank with, so I use them as the example. If I owed somebody money, let's say, I don't know, I borrowed lunch money or something, and they have a Chase bank account as well, I go log into my account, and then I click on Quick Pay, and I can pay them the money that I owe them, and Chase will then withdraw it from my account and transfer it into their Chase bank account as well. It's a really cool and convenient feature that Chase and a lot of banks actually now offer. All right, so now we're going to talk about how to actually write a check. Checks are still around. Back in the day, before debit cards and that kind of stuff, this is how people paid for things when they didn't actually have cash on them. Okay, people still use checks, but nowhere near as often as they used to use checks. But it's still extremely important to understand the proper and correct way to actually write a check. Okay, so here's a mock-up of a check, and there's several different things on here. I'm sure you've probably seen them. You might have even had a class where that talked about this, but I'm going to go over each item. We'll start with number one. Number one is the date that you are actually writing the check. Okay, so today's date is the 4th, so you would write 10/4/2016. That's the date. If you look on the second one, this is the pay to the order of line. Excuse me. Bring that back over here. This is who you are writing the check to. This is who the bank, you're ordering the bank to pay this person that's on this line, or this company that's on that line. Okay. Number 3 is the dollar amount that you are going to write. Now, there are a couple ways to do this. Okay. You can write the actual dollar amount. Let's say it's for $100, 100.00. Some people, the way I've been taught, and I've always done it this way, is I write 100 slash or 00/100. So let me kind of show you. Where's the word? So like if it was for $100, I would write 100 and then 00 over 100. Okay, and what that means is it's 100 cents out of 100 cents. It's a lot easier to just write this for 100, but I was taught this way back in the day, so I just stick with it. Either way is acceptable by the bank. All right, and then number 4, this is where you actually write out in words the dollar amount that you are writing. Okay, this is what the bank will look at. If these two things are different, they're taking what is actually written. This is a fraud preventative or fraud prevention tool. So if we go back to the $100 example and we use $100, then we are actually writing out 100, and then if you see where it says dollars already, you're then going to draw a line after you write the dollar amount. So you're going to write 100 and then a line all the way to the end. Okay, now think about why you would do that. Why do you think you would write 100 and then a line all the way to where it says dollars on the checking account? And some of you might be thinking in your head, to prevent fraud. If you wrote 100, and you didn't add a line to it, I mean, I could easily, since the bank is taking that amount, I could easily write, let's say the dollars is right here. You don't do any space. So you have all this space in between. You could add $199, right? Or 100 and whatever. So the bottom line is that line that you draw is a fraud prevention tool. Okay. Number 6 is called the memo line. This is to yourself. This is what you can say, this is why I wrote it. So like if it's to a friend because you bought their shoes, okay, in the memo you would write shoes, right? It's the subject of or the reason why you are writing that check. Number 7 up here in the top right, this is the check number. All checks have a specific number. Each check is individually numbered. This particular check is number 0123. Oh, I forgot the signature line. I'm sorry, I'm going out of order. 5 is the signature line. So you are actually signing your name right here. Okay. 6 I just talked about. 7 we're up here. 8 is all your information, your name, address, city, state, and zip code. This is so the bank knows that it's actually yours. The other way they know it's actually yours is through 9 and 10. 9 is what's called the routing number. Okay. Every bank has a specific number associated to it. This particular bank's routing number is right here. Okay. That's so they know it's a real check for that particular bank. And then the number 10 is the actual account number. So routing number first, 9, and then account number 10. And then these 4 digits on a lot of checks, this is the check number. These should match, but in this example, they do not. Okay. We're going to stop here. But again, this is how you write a check on the test. You'll have to know how to do that. And on Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll actually I'll have some blank checks and we'll practice writing checks. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys Wednesday.